Greetings and welcome to Randazzo's Music Studio. I'm Joe Randazzo. It's time for Joe's Jam. Today we're having a birthday party. Who are we celebrating? The C melody saxophone. I was wondering how old this was, so I entered the serial number, which starts 116, and it's the Conn Company, C-O-N-N. I looked it up online, and it was made in 1923. So this year it's 100 years old. Now that is really special. Let's learn about the C melody and how it's different. Saxophones come in different sizes and keys, mostly E flat and B flat. The smallest is called a sopranino. It's an E flat instrument. Then there's the soprano, B flat, an alto, which is E flat, and then the C melody, which is different, the tenor, which is B flat, and then the baritone, which I don't have here, that's an E flat, and the bass saxophone, which is a B flat instrument, and there's some others too, contrabass. They're huge. Let me show you a bass saxophone. That is huge. My brother Richard once played one in an orchestral setting. That must have been something. The low notes are thunderous, sound like a whale burping. Well, let's listen to how these sound, and you can hear where the C melody fits in. First, the soprano. Get my trusty neck strap. Soprano sax. Bechet was a wonderful clarinet and soprano sax player. Played a lot of New Orleans music. Please don't call it Dixieland. People of color had a horrible time in Dixie. So people who love that music call it New Orleans music. Next, the alto. When I hear an alto sax, it's a very moody instrument. I think of those film noir, black and white movies, rain-soaked city street, and the female protagonist is plotting and scheming. There's some great alto players. For a hard sound, you've got Charlie Parker, Cannonball Adderley, and for a smooth sound, Paul Desmond. Next, the C melody. I love the sound of this sax. We'll come back to it. And the tenor. This is a 1960 vintage King Zephyr. It weighs a ton. This is the jazz and rock and roll sax. So many great players. Lester Young, Sonny Rollins, Stan Getz. So why was the C melody popular, and when was it popular? Okay, they used it around 1870, 1880, and it was popular through the 20s. People didn't have record players. They didn't come along till mostly after World War I, and radio stations weren't broadcasting music till around 1924. So what did people do? They made their own music. In the living room they had a parlor guitar. Parlor is just another word for living room. These were small instruments. By the way, they've made a comeback. All the major manufacturers are now making them again. Or a piano. And they would sit as a family and make music. And they would buy sheet music. Let's look at some of these. Over there, World War I song, George M. Cohan. You're a grand old flag, you're a high flying flag, blah, blah, blah. Another George M. Cohan song. The Sheik of Araby. It's never late till morning, and it's early after that. Well, that makes sense. Two rather tipsy men on the cover. When was this? 1908. Now, I have no idea what this sounds like. I've got hundreds of these. They've been in my family for generations. You know, it might be a good show just to play some of these, see if we can find some hidden gems. Here's another one. I have no idea. Doing the Raccoon. The St. Louis Blues, W.C. Handy. I played that on the soprano. That's the first thing I played. When Veronica plays the harmonica. Okay. Yes, we have no bananas. Louisville Lou. You're a Dangerous Girl. Al Jolson. He was very famous. He sold a lot of sheet music. When Will I Know? You'll Never Know. I wonder if these two composers knew each other. So why was the C melody sax popular? Because sheet music is written in the key of C. So the person who plays a C melody sax doesn't have to transpose into E flat or B flat. He or she could read the same music that the guitar, the piano, the mandolin, violin or banjo were playing. And there was another reason why it was popular. It was soft. The mouthpiece was very bulbous and very low volume, and it didn't have resonators on the pads. I don't know if you can see a resonator. Oh, they're hard to see. But it's a metal disc that's put on the pad. It adds volume. And the C melody didn't have it, so it didn't overpower the other instruments. You know, I was thinking, I'm the last generation to be formed before television. We made our own music. My brother played the accordion, then later the guitar, oboe, trumpet, anything he could get his hands on. I played the clarinet, sax, later the guitar, and violin, and we made our own music. My uncle Sarah would play the piano, or my father Rocco. But then television came along, and we were introduced to the world of Ed Sullivan and Lawrence Welk, and we stopped playing. Now, you're lucky if the family sits around and watches the same TV show. Now this is what everyone's doing. Don't bother me. Yeah, I know, we love our phones, but not playing music with family and friends, it's a great loss. It really is. You know, this sheet music was kind of interesting because some of the great American composers worked as song pluggers and song demonstrators. Irving Berlin, Jerome Kern, George Gershwin. Can you imagine walking into a Woolworths and saying, "Hey Jerry, play Doing a Raccoon for me. I want to hear what it sounds like." That must have been something. Well, let's hear how the C melody sounds. I won't use any backing tracks. We'll just hear it straight out. It's, of all the saxes I've played, this is my favorite for ballads and for slow blues. Yeah, it's great. This one's been redone. I put pads with resonators and a special mouthpiece that was designed especially for this instrument by Dr. Caravan. The whole thing only cost about $600. And it's got the same volume now as the alto and the tenor. For not too much money, you can get a wonderful piece of American history that sounds just beautiful. Well, future shows, we're going to be looking at guitar pickups, the same pickup in a solid body, a semi-hollow, and a hollow. Can you make them sound the same with amp settings, or are they too different? If you have arthritis or tendonitis, do you have to give up playing the guitar or bass? No, we'll show you some tricks. We're going to look at alternate tunings, G, E, A, drop D. Can you really play a song with just one finger? The answer is yes, hundreds of songs. We'll show you how to make multi-track recordings without a computer. You can either burn a CD or download it to YouTube. We'll show you what a 5-string violin is like and how it's different from a 4-string. What kind of music can you play with it? There's so many wonderful topics, and maybe we will do a show on old sheet music. What do these things sound like? So, thanks for joining me, and we'll see you next time on Joe's Jam. See you later, alligator.